everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bytes Whiskey Reviews with a gaming twist. I'm your host, Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Yes, I am back, barely. If you missed it last week, I took the week off. I had a chance to get some last-minute concert tickets, and this week I almost had to take the week off because I came down with a bit of a cold/flu/COVID, some type of thing after the concert. So that's what I get for skipping a live stream. I get sick, but today I'm feeling like 75% of the way better. So I'm like, I can at least do a live stream. It might be a little more chill, might be a little more casual than usual, but I do have two whiskeys that I wanted to review and get the review in by the end of this week. So that's what we're doing here today. If you notice, I didn't put out a podcast episode because I just kept trying to push until my voice got better. I pushed it like till Tuesday, then till Wednesday, and I was like, it's not going to happen. So podcast will be back next week. But this week, I'll at least give you somewhat of a live stream, even if it's a little more, it might be shorter, it might be more chill than usual. But I just want to do something for you guys because I realize it's been a while. So I hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully you're not suffering through whatever the heck this is. Thankfully, mostly all my symptoms are gone, but I've weirdly broken out into this like almost full body rash thing that's happening, which I learned you can get a post-viral rash from the flu or COVID. News to me, but yeah. So I am now suffering. My sinuses are clear now, mostly, but now I have itchy little spots all over me. So that's great. I'm just having a wonderful week, guys. Hopefully you're having a better week than me. But I'm going to kick the night off with some bomb burgers. I realized I was getting really low on this bomb burgers from 2025. This made my top 10 list last year. So I'm going to start off with something good because I will say the past few nights I've tried drinking just a little bit of whiskey just to see if I've lost my sense of taste. That's my COVID test, right? I don't have any actual physical COVID tests anymore, but I'm like, if I can't taste my whiskey, it's probably COVID. I did notice my tastes were a little bit muted over the past few days, but today seems to be relatively back to normal, which is another reason why I'm doing this review today. Don't want to give a review on a half palate. So we're going to pour a little bit of the bomb burgers to get my palate up and running before we dive into these new whiskeys. They're new to me, at least. They're from Provenance. If you saw the thumbnail, you saw them before, but they are 1787 Provenance Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And we have a 7-year-old and a 14-year-old. So I'm really excited to dive into these. These are a Virginia brand, but it is Kentucky distillate. So it's from Kentucky. So really excited to have some 7 and 14-year-old high-proof Kentucky bourbon. But like I said, I'm going to start with the bomb burgers just to kind of warm up my palate and maybe clear my throat a little bit. RIP Shy Guy says it's getting hot in here. It is, and I will not be taking off my clothes. Trust me. Of all days you don't want me to take my clothes off, today's not one of them because you don't want to see what's underneath. I mean, unless you want to pay. Bourbon Daddy. Zophir's here. What's up? Good to see you. Emily is here as well. I got the crud. Indeed, I did. Doug, Taste and Sensibility is here. Cheers, everyone. Get better. Thank you so much. I'm working on it. I feel a lot better today. I just don't know what this like rash thing is. It's freaking me out. Zophir said, nasal congestion from any cause would definitely impact your palate. Damn, I tried. And Tony is here as well. Cheers to you, Tony. Thank you for stopping in. Yeah, I feel bad because I told Tony I was going to review one of the samples he sent me on my podcast this week, and then I got sick. So did not do that. So next week, Tony, I'll get to that. By the way, I'm also live streaming on Kick for the first time, as well as YouTube tonight. So I've been seeing Kick live streams kind of trending more and more lately. They're mostly for gaming and like IRL type of streams. But I was like, you know what? We'll try streaming over on Kick. So if you're following me over on Kick, definitely hit the like or subscribe. Actually, I don't even know what the buttons are over there. I've honestly never used the website ever. I've just seen clips of Kick streams. So, but we are live on Kick right now. So just look up Bourbon Bytes over there and see how it is. Check it out. It is upper 80s today. I wouldn't know. I've still been kind of laying in bed, taking it easy because, yeah, I'm like, I don't want to be all itchy outside. That's just weird to me. So we're kicking it now. We are. So I'll have a sip of this bomb burgers and then we'll get into these two whiskeys. But I realize two whiskeys aren't going to take up the whole live stream. So I might pull out some samples or something and just, answer some questions. If you guys ever have any questions you wanted to ask me, now's the time because I'm still like not 100% like thinking straight. So I might say some things I don't want to say just for you guys. Not like that's not normal, as if you guys don't hear the true full Cliffy on the Hangout for Patreon. But yeah, just figured we'll take it chill today. Let me know what you guys are drinking on. I'll probably kill this bomb burgers by end of the night. I've been missing whiskey. And I will say it's still kind of like not 100% there in terms of like my nose and palate and stuff, but this does smell really good. And it's been hard for me to find whiskey that smelled good. Last night I tried to drink some EHC in a small batch, and I just couldn't enjoy it. So let's give a taste of the bomb burgers. Yeah, palate's doing a lot of work here. Mm, really nice oakiness. I think it's that Chinkaman oak on the bomb burgers that really stands out here. It's not overwhelmingly sweet. I've reviewed this whiskey several times, so I'm not here for a review. I just want to set my palate up right for a good tasting. Tony said, "What's the naughtiest thing you've done for whiskey?" For whiskey, probably not much. For other things, that's a whole different story. No, for whiskey, I don't think the naughtiest thing. I mean, I guess other than like shipping it like through the mail, I guess that's kind of naughty because it's technically like not necessarily legal. I don't want to say that on camera. But so yeah, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. Naughtiest thing I've done for whiskey. Whiskey usually makes me do naughty things. If that's what you're asking, that's a whole different question there. Tanner 171 in the chat. I forgot I'm on StreamYard, so I can actually highlight comments now. Previously, I've been streaming through my own software, so good to be back on StreamYard just to kind of revisit it for a bit. Tanner says he is sipping on Chairman's Reserve 2009. Nice. Chairman's Reserve. Is that rum? Are you Tanner from South Carolina? I don't know the username, so I just know he's a rum fan. So I know I was trying to find a way not to say that. I know. Yeah, the bomb burgers is always nice. That's why I made my top list. Oh, yes, rum, and no, not Tanner from South Carolina. Okay, cool. Because I have a good friend Tanner who is a huge rum fan, and he I just thought maybe he was here. But good to see you, Tanner from Canada. Nice. Wonder how's the rum selection there? Do you guys get pretty good imports for that? Ours is, at least here in like the Southern California area, we get quite a bit of rum. I'm just relatively new to it, so I tend to stick to I much prefer like what is Foursquare? What is that region? Barbados rum. I really like Barbados rum. Jamaican I can handle here and there, especially in a cocktail. I like Jamaican rum, but yeah, rum's one of those things that like I would love to explore more, but I've not really dived deep into it. Whiskey's still my area of like expertise. Mike Meyer in the chat. Mike, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you all for tuning in. I was worried by not going live live last week. I was like, oh no, people might forget I exist, but glad to see you guys showing up. All right. Well, speaking of showing up, we have 2 new whiskeys showing up here today for the very first time. Like I said, Provenance. Never heard of this brand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so we can kind of explore together and learn a little bit about what they have to offer. So let me share this window over here. Let's see if this will work. Boom, boom. Let me change this so it's a little more visible. There we go. All right. So this is their website, Provenance. And it says crafted with intention, savored with purpose. And by the way, they sent me these bottles for review. So these were provided by the brand. I always want to disclose that. It says their head whiskey maker hand selects each barrel for character, complexity, and potential. Well, let's see their story first. Let's see what they're all about. By the way, I did all this research last week before I did this live stream, and then getting sick, I've completely lost all this knowledge. So that's why we're doing it together, okay? By the way, that's what the bottles look like. Really gorgeous bottle. I love that bottle. Let's see. It starts with the founding of the Middleburg Barrel Company, nestled in the heart of Virginia's horse and wine country. Middleton Barrel Company was built to bring something new to the world of premium spirits, a brand that celebrates quality without pretense and creates connection without compromise. All right. Love some good marketing speak. But let's see what else. Let's see if they got some other tidbits of info here. It says we created 1787 Provenance to elevate the bourbon experience through purpose, care, and craft. In a world of overflowing with choices, we want to offer something more thoughtful, a bourbon that's approachable yet refined, rooted in tradition yet designed for today. Okay, let's see if we can find something a little more useful here. All right. A legacy in and on every bottle. From Mount Vernon to Middleton, the history of American bourbon is deeply rooted in Virginia soil. In the late 1700s, Virginia's fertile land and pioneering spirit laid the foundation for uniquely American whiskey. George Washington himself once operated a distillery at Mount Vernon. Yes, I heard that story before as well. The map on every bottle of 1787 Provenance pays homage to this historic corridor. Okay, so it's more about the place than the this whiskey itself. Here's the team. I was curious about that earlier. So their principal whiskey maker is Jay West. Why does that sound familiar? Jay West. That name sounds familiar to me. Oh, that's Take, right? Yeah, like T8KE from Reddit. He's mostly Reddit famous. Okay, so this is his. He's one of the people involved with this brand. We also have some other names here. I don't recognize them as much, but yeah, there's the folks behind the brand. Well, let's look into the bourbon itself. So it's cool to see the takes behind this. Usually his palate is pretty incredible. So let's see what they have to offer, and we'll guide ourselves through this tasting. Yes, I am 21 or older. All right, well, let's start with the 7-year. That's what we have here first. The flagship release of 1787 Provenance, single barrel Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Yeah, just want to make sure it's the same one. $70 cask strength single barrel. Like I said, it is. Let's see if we have some info here on the back. It is bottled by Middleburg Barrel Company, but it is distilled in Kentucky. So this is 7-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey that we're drinking here tonight. No idea where it's from. We don't have a mash bill here. I've seen some people talk about the mash bill online, but nothing official shows the mash bill. I'll check their email that they sent me real quick just to make sure there's not any additional info there that I can share with you guys. Let's see. Yeah, they don't show the mash bills or anything here. They just link to the website. Okay, cool. So we don't know the mash bill. We don't know where it's from, but we do know it's a Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. So let's go and get that poured and see what it's all about. Tanner says we have some decent ones. The Chairman's 2009 is only on the shelf for a short time. Very hard to get, but it has a nice charred grilled sausage taste. Oh, nice. Layers of other. That sounds good. I do love a savory flavor profile. That sounds really good. Zover says I also like some savory notes. But they were making rye whiskey in Washington days. That's a good point. They were. Don't make me choke, Tony. No, but I mean, like, okay. But knowing that Take is involved, like Jay West, like he is a very reputable person in the industry. So I'm expecting this to be pretty darn good. So pricing $70. Proof on this one, it's a single barrel, but it's 107 proof. Here's the label on it again. I will be honest, I'm not a big fan of like all the marketing fluff. Like, I mean, I know you want to tell a story with the whiskey, right? And I think it's cool to pay tribute to the fact that Virginia was kind of the home of American whiskey. But like a lot of what we just read, it just kind of came across as like, this tells me nothing about the whiskey or the people behind it. Why don't you spend a paragraph talking about Take? Like the people, the person who has a huge following on Reddit being one of your principal whiskey makers. That's a better story than in 1787, George Washington made whiskey. So here's some Kentucky bourbon. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'm just being a little bit, I don't know. We'll let the whiskey speak for itself. Let's ignore the marketing speak and let's let it speak for itself. Let's go ahead and give it a nose with what I can, with being a little bit sick still. Ooh, okay, sweet. Almost a weirdly. I know we were talking about rum earlier, but it kind of smells like a rum, a nicely oaked rum. It's got a really bright sweetness to it that I would normally associate with like a sugarcane spirit. You can tell it's 107 proof. I mean, I'm jumping up from. Actually, no, the Bombergers was 108. This one is nosing a little bit hotter than that one did. Yeah, I mean, it smells nice. It definitely doesn't have the oak influence that the Bombergers had, but I'm not here to compare the two. I'm just saying the fact that I just had a pour of that. Love Clifton's old-timey voice. Well, you're talking about because I found sound sick, because I am sick, or when I was reading that. I don't even remember. Hope the whiskey is good. Yeah, me too. I'm always hopeful. Listen, I love discovering new brands. I love when brands decide to send me a sample to review. And I always give my honest opinions, whether I like it or not. So, that's a risk they take. And it's, I guess, a benefit you guys enjoy, because I'll just tell you how I feel. Let's go ahead and give the Provenance 7-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon single barrel cask strength a taste. Cheers. It's got some interesting dark chocolate notes. Um, it kind of reminds me of some notes I get from a whiskey that's been aged in like either like a super charred, like extremely charred barrel, or potentially like a smaller barrel. That's interesting. That's an interesting. I think I need a second sip of this one because that kind of threw me off. It wasn't what I expected based on the nose. Yeah, I mean, it's got a pretty simple flavor profile, but it's nothing off-putting. I will say it's definitely toasty, a little bit nutty, but like not peanut. I mean, pecan. I feel like I've been saying pecan a lot lately, but it's like somewhere like that and walnut or something. Like it's like more of like a woodsy kind of nut. It is sweet though. It does have some sweetness, like some cinnamon sugar going on. Honestly, it's not a bad flavor profile at all. I do think it feels, and this is me speaking from being a little bit, under the weather. It does feel a little simplistic with the note, with the palate. It's really got some really nice flavor, like a little bit of like a toasted. I want to say something like toasted honey bun. Like if you were to put honey bun in a toaster, never done that, but something like that, like toasted honey bun, but not like the sweet honey. It's more of like a pecan pie, like the filling of a pecan pie. Um, Not much oak. I was saying that the nuts themselves kind of give it a woodiness to it, but it's not like an oaky kind of like, flavor bomb, which for 7 years old, you don't always expect that. But I think I thought maybe more oak would show up. Hmm. The more I get into it, the more I like it. We'll catch up in the chat real quick. Prescription Bourbon is here. Oh, I gave that a shout out. Sweet Cindy is here. What's up, Cindy? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. 107 is always a nice proof point. Oh, agreed. I think I've always said my ideal proof point is like 107 to like 115. That's like my favorite. I used to be more of a proof hound and would go for 120 plus, which don't get me wrong, I do really love those, but I think my ideal sipping bourbon is like 107. I can even go down to like 104, 104 and 115. Like that range is like perfect for me. Perry's here from This Is My Bourbon podcast. If you guys are not yet following him, go follow him. He goes live on Thursdays as well and puts out a podcast every Wednesday morning. So check out Perry and Kyle. Good to see you in the chat. No worries being late. All good, all good. All right, so I'm going to keep a little bit of that in the glass. We're not going to give my full final thoughts on this until we try the 14-year because that could be a drastic difference. So reminder, they sent me the 7-year and the 14-year. So this is the 14-year we're about to move to. This is a 116 proof, 14-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Now, this one is not a single barrel. This is actually a small batch. It is cask strength, though. Let me pull back up the website. Let's see what info we have about the 14-year. So this is still the 7-year. Let me go back. 14-year limited edition. Nice. Our finest high age statement barrels of hand-selected Kentucky bourbon made up of our most storied release. Well, that's kind of exciting, except you say it's your most storied release, but you don't tell us the story. Is there anything on the back label? Here, let's see. Let's see what they say here. No, this is the same thing from their website. Guys, I don't want to turn this into like a marketing thing, but it's like, this isn't really telling me anything. This is just talking about how like Middleburg, Virginia was founded in 1787 and George Washington made whiskey, not at their estate, but just in the same area. Like, it's cool. But the fact that you said this is your storied release, and this is a 14-year-old single barrel, 14-year-old small batch bourbon, $260. Which again, if you told the right story for this and told us where it was, even if you can't tell us where it's from, give us some like hints, give us some tasting notes, give us something. $260 without much info is a bit of a, you're asking people to gamble on this, and I'm not a fan of gambling. I like knowing what's in my whiskey, and especially at that price point. Now, that being said, they are sold out. So maybe this is more of like a if you know, you know kind of thing. Again, like I said, Jay West Take is behind it. One of the most well-known whiskey reviewers in terms of like the online space. So maybe this is like an if you know, you know thing, and he tells you exactly what's in it. You just like have to be his personal besties. And that's cool, except it's not, because like this is a brand sending out media samples and they want me to review it. And when you don't give me any additional info beyond your story of being founded in Virginia, I don't know what to think other than just give an honest review. And that's what we're doing today. So enough Cliffy marketing rant. uh, Perry said, currently rediscovering my love for 113-ish proof. Yeah, like I said, so 104 to 115. I think like 110 to 115 is really my sweet spot. $260 is the story. The story is there's no story. Well, they call it their most storied release, and they don't have a story to go with the release. So it's like, what does that mean? Tanner says, the only whiskey I've ever tried is Jameson, which is nothing special. To be honest, got extremely sick of it. What do you suggest for a campfire tasting whiskey? That's not too hard to find. I'll throw that to the chat. What do you guys suggest for campfire tasting? Oh, I saw Cindy said double oak. Yes, double oak bourbons. Old Forester has a double oaked one. Woodford Reserve has a double oaked. Those are not too pricey. Yeah, Jameson. Listen, first of all, we have one of the best Irish whiskey experts here in the chat, Stacy, Four Leaf Whiskey. If you want to know more about Irish whiskey, go subscribe to her channel. 18 days till St. Patrick's Day. Yes, Stacy, remind me or let me know details about. I'm going to have Stacy either on my channel or her channel. She reached out to me, so I'll let her rule what we do. But I'm really looking forward to doing a stream with Stacy. I hope I didn't forget, but I hope like we're still cool. Keep me updated. I would love to do that. So keep an eye out on her channel or my channel for a St. Patrick's Day stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. Depending on what you can find. I know we need our friend Donald Rance, who's also an Irish whiskey expert. He's based in Canada as well. He probably has a better idea of what's available. Nice. Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and pour the 14. Let's try this most storied whiskey without a story. Again, I told you I give it like it is. Like, I do appreciate when brands send me samples. I just would hope that they would know that I'm going to give it an honest review and I'm going to like dissect it. But when you don't give me any info to dissect it, I'm just going based on my experience alone. There we go. Thank you. March 8th, Four Leaf Whiskey. You guys go check it out. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, we are still on for that. I'm very, very excited. Looking forward to every time Stacy shares Irish whiskey with me, it's always incredible. She always has some of the best things that I've ever tasted in the entire country. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Carlton Huber Starlight Double Oak is pretty good. Sipping on it now. Nice. All right, let me do a little bit of a palate cleanse between these two. Now, in terms of the label, exact same thing. Bottled by Middleburg Barrel Company, distilled in Kentucky, 14 years old. It's a small batch instead of a single barrel. Now, I think what's interesting is the fact that it sounds like they are making their own barrels, which there's a thing. Barrel pick, that's a barrel pick experience. With them making their own barrels, I feel like that could be a story within itself, but there's nothing really here on the website talking about the barrels themselves. Because a lot of distilleries that make bourbon don't make barrels. They source them from Independent Stave Company or one of the other big ones. So it is cool that they make their own barrels, but like, tell us more. They have an FAQ, so we'll scroll through that in shortly, but let's go ahead and give the 14-year a nose. Okay, there's the oak. Of course, with a 14-year-old bourbon, you're going to expect the oak. That is really nice on the nose. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of some of the, it still has that toasted, like sweeter element, like a toasted bourbon does. So it doesn't necessarily smell as much like an older bourbon to me. Because I was going to say like one of the 15-year-old or 14 or 15-year-old Knob Creek single barrel selects that we got a few years ago. It's not quite that much oak. The oak is definitely more of like a toasty, sweeter vanilla kind of thing going on. Not bad by any means, but like very, very. And what's funny is like the other one was like dark chocolate. This one is like, again, it's that cinnamon sugar, molasses, brown sugar. It's like I said, okay, hold on, let me back up. I said the 7-year was cinnamon sugar, and then like a what did I say, like a toasted honey bun. This on the nose, the 14-year, is like brown sugar, cinnamon. Not really getting the honey bun thing, but let's see what I get on the palate. I'm really excited. Cheers, y'all. Ooh, that's really nice. That's where it's at. um, yeah, that is really delicious. Okay. If you don't know, I'm a sucker for older bourbons in general. I'm also a sucker for very oak forward bourbons when like that's the flavor profile, just that like punch of oak. This gives that punch. This is a delicious oaky bourbon, spicy in all the right ways. Like I said, that cinnamon. It goes like a little bit like still like it's still sweet being 14 years old. Oh my gosh, if I had to guess where this was from, I don't think I could tell you. 14-year-old bourbon from Kentucky that tastes like this. I mean, if I had to take a good guess, this kind of does remind me of what Heaven Hill puts out. It's really rich and vibrant. It's almost like an extra toasted Heaven Hill product, but with a lot of age on it as well. I recently reviewed the Heaven Hill Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel Proof, but that was only a 9-year release. I think it was like 9 years old. To me, it just didn't work. This tastes like an older version of that. Like it was like a heavily toasted barrel, aged for 14 years. That is delicious. No wonder that one's sold out. Okay, we were judging the price, right? 270. If they told the story a little bit better, which I guess maybe they did to some inner circle somewhere and told us what this was, or at least hinted towards what it was, I see why this did well. It almost has like a black tea note, almost like really intensely so, like an oversteeped black tea. Like I'm almost thinking like I know Emily. I think we talked about the Firefly sweet tea vodka before. It kind of smells like the note of like a sweet tea vodka. Like it's that condensed sweet tea kind of note on the nose. The palate, it's there a little bit, but it's more of like a black tea. It's not nearly as sweet as that, of course. Yeah. I mean, I have no complaints. The finish on that is incredible. The palate, the nose, I can't give a full like overview of the nose just because I'm a bit under the weather, but otherwise, that is a fantastic bourbon. Now I'm almost wondering, should I like start Googling to see like, is there some info on this that I don't know that is explains why it's so good and why it's sold out? um, tobacco notes. To me, it's more black tea leaves than tobacco for this one particularly. That's what's really interesting about it. Cody Max says, greeting from Seattle. Nice. Welcome, Cody. Good to see you. Love Seattle. I just got back from a trip up there 3 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. Love visiting. Tanner said, when it comes to rum, I also had Demon Share. It wasn't great at all. Had a doctor's office smell, but if you can imagine it as a taste, yeah. I mean, I think that's a lot of peated, peated Scotch whiskey has that note. I always say like it's like an iodine note. There's a brand called Lefroy that like I think is iconic. I always say burning hospital is my description of it. It's not the best note, but I say burning hospital note. So I know what note you're talking about for sure. Stacy loves the double oak bourbon and rye. Me too. Cody said Jim Beam double oak got me down the oak rabbit hole. Nice. Sweet Cindy says we have a local rye about 90 minutes from Chicago. Kinney Farms double oaked rye. Pretty solid. Nice. Tony, you're near Chicago. Go check that out. Firefly is fun. It is fun, but it definitely isn't something I would consider an exceptional whiskey. So I'm looking. I found a Reddit review from 3 months ago of this Provenance 14 year. I'm just seeing what they're saying about it. Really enjoyed the. Okay, so this person buys other releases from Take. Um, they've had several Take barrel picks, and the tasting notes from releases are very appealing. Oh well, so this person somehow found tasting notes of this 14-year whiskey that is nowhere on the bottle, nowhere on the website, but they apparently have the tasting notes here. They say full of dark cherries, cocoa, cola, and tobacco. To me, it was more of a black tea, but I can see the tobacco as well. So like people on Reddit, that's kind of what I assume, right? Is like a kind of if you know, you know kind of situation. If you know Take and you follow him, you probably know that this is oh, it says mash bill not disclosed, but I don't know. I'm a little disappointed that you can have such an exceptional whiskey. Like, and I'm just saying that just based on the palate, an exceptional 14-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon, and just like not sell it with the marketing. Yeah. I mean, that if I had to give that a score, it would be at least it would be a contender for a top whiskey of the year. But when I consider things like that, I do consider transparency. You'll notice one of the whiskeys on my top list of last year barely made it because I love the whiskey, but there was zero transparency whatsoever, and I kind of knocked its score down because of that. So it's like you can put out an exceptional bourbon like this, but I'm not gonna like. I feel like I want more info, or even if you can't give me more info, just at least give me tasting notes. Like I don't even read tasting notes all the time, but like giving me nothing, just tell me, say this is a storied whiskey, and you don't tell me the story of the whiskey, then I'm like, okay, I'll take you at your word for it. Um, Stacy said Lafroig is an emergency room biohazard bin set on fire if that's your jam. Bourbon lover, cheers. Hopefully you're doing well as well. Good to see you. Yeah, not a fan of the lack of transparency. That's the thing. I love the whiskey. It's great. And okay, let me go back to the 7 year, which also has the lack of transparency, but at least it's a $70 bottle, right? $70 bottle versus a $260 bottle. Or was it 260 or 270? 260. Let's go back to the 7 year, just do a little last minute comparison. I don't think these are the same barrels. The 7 year is definitely more in like the Jim Beam kind of flavor profile. It's a little nutty, more of like, when I say Jim Beam, I don't mean like Knob Creek. It almost tastes like a similar mash bill to like a old granddad, almost like an old granddad with some extra proof and some extra, maybe a toasted layer to it as well. It's not bad. I like the 7 year. It's just a very simple palate. I like it. For $70, so for a 7 year, 107 proof bourbon, to me, this is a try before you buy. I think, it fits my palate. I do like it. Would I buy one for that price? Probably not. Not in today's market. I don't know if it's probably mostly the price, I'll be real, and the lack of transparency. I love a brand to be transparent. That wins me points, even if your whiskey's not the best. As long as you're honest about it and like you tell me more of the story, then I'm more invested. 7 years is a good age statement, but to me, it doesn't justify the $70 price point. I think this, if this were closer to 50, 45, maybe, I think this would be a good bourbon. Now, oddly enough, the 14 year at the $260 price point, I think it could justify that price point. It's really that much better. It tastes like a completely different distillery. Or if it's not, it's significantly improved by those extra 7 years of age. That black tea note just gets me every time. It's a delicious note on the nose. Yeah. 14 years, hands down the winner, but it's a matter of like, do you want to pay $260 for a bottle you know nothing about except that it's a 14-year-old Kentucky bourbon? Maybe, but there's other brands like, again, not to keep throwing it over to Knob Creek, but like Knob Creek has a 15-year age dated one. Now it's 100 proof, but you know exactly where it's from. Exactly. I think they even have the rick houses on the tag for that. And even if it's Barton, Calumet Farms, the 14 and 15-year releases, they tell you very clearly what it is. So it's like we're in this weird territory of a non-disclosed source, and that's okay. I get it. Legal reasons you have to do that, but give us something else. Give us a hint at the mash bill, even if you say like high rye, low rye, 4 grain, something. Give us something. All right, I'll stop rambling. Those are my thoughts on these Provenance whiskeys. I very, very much enjoyed the 14-year. If I knew more about it, I'd be more willing to give it a higher recommendation. But knowing what I know now, and it's sold out anyways, so it's like I can't say run out and buy it. But I will say I'll keep an eye out on the brand because, again, knowing that Jay is involved, take on Reddit, he's just kind of like everyone really trusts his palate. And I've not really seen I've never really did the deep dive to see if my palate aligns with his that closely. I know some people, other people have. I think Fred was talking about this the other night. But yeah, if this is what his palate tastes like, this 14-year, then I'm gonna have to try more of what he. That sounds weird. I'm gonna have to try more of his stuff. 7-year, good, overpriced with no information. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably say 6 out of 10. only because we don't have any info and it's $70. If we had info, I would bump that up because I do like the flavor profile. But even being at that, it's not something that I would buy regularly. There's other things that I would buy at that price point. I wouldn't be opposed to having a pour of it. Like if I saw a pour of it at the bar, I would gladly buy a pour of it, but I wouldn't necessarily buy a bottle. So that's how I feel about these releases. We do still have some more time. If you guys have questions for me or you want me to try something else from my collection, like I said, today's stream is gonna be a little bit more chill. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, as you can tell, but my palate is still here. So if you guys want me to drink something else and get my thoughts on it, I have some samples sent to me by some viewers over here. I have some old samples I've had for years and years and years, or I have all these bottles on the shelves back here. Oh, you can see those like, remember I told you like I'm getting these like weird breakout things from getting over the flu. They're like, oh, you should see my legs. My legs are bad. You don't want to see them. Trust me. That's some Bourbon Daddy content only. But it's really bad. So let me know what you guys, or we can just end the stream early and head over to our after party hangout, which is what we do every Thursday night after a live stream. I give it over to my Bite Club members or my Patreons. Everyone $10 and up can join me for an after party hangout on our Discord server where we chat, we drink some more pours, we just shoot the shit for a couple hours and just have a great time. So if you're not yet on our Discord, that's open to everyone. It's not just for Patreon supporters. So if you do want to join our Discord server, you can access all of our different lounges, our chat rooms, things like that. Totally open to everyone. But if you are a Patreon or a Bite Club member, which Bite Club members are at bourbonbytes.com, it's my own website. It's a version of Patreon that you can just join. But whichever one you join, you get access to the after party. But Discord's open to everyone. You just get access to the exclusive rooms like the after party if you are a Bite Club member. Use some aloe vera. You know what? I do have some leftover from last time I got a bad sunburn. Might try that tonight because yeah, it's not necessarily itchy. It's just like irritated, you know? HDNM1IV says Old Louisville Wheated Bourbon. Is this a clue? Is this an insider knowledge here about what we're drinking here? Is it? I've never Old Louisville. I'm not familiar with Old Louisville. I'm intrigued. Does anyone have any info? Is this a little sneaky spy in the chat? Also welcome. If you're not, sorry. I just like that's like very specific. I've never heard of Old Louisville. Nor did I know they did a wheated bourbon, but very cool. Emily says, are you looking forward to anything this year? Huh. Good question. Well, based on the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Rye, there was only one batch that came out last year. It was the A925, I think it was, or A725. I forget which one it was. There was only one batch last year. That was an incredible rye whiskey. So I look forward to more cask strength rye whiskey releases from Heaven Hill under the Elijah Craig lineup. What else do I look forward to? I heard rumors of a Knob Creek 12 cask strength coming back out. I would love to see that. I'm trying to see, like, I think whenever there's new releases coming out that I'm excited about, I usually mention those on the podcast because I go through like TTB labels. So I can't think of any off the bat, but like listen to the podcast. And as I read through those, you can tell which ones I'm very excited about. Others, if I'm not reporting on it, I'm likely not excited about it. But yeah, I think I saw one on Perry's stream earlier that was like a bourbon mixed with like a Japanese single malt or something. That was kind of cool. I was excited to see that. I think it was from Bardstown Bourbon Company. That sounds really interesting. I'd love to try that. Yeah, I'm open. I'm excited for all the regulars, but also I love seeing new experimental things as well. So very open-minded to see what's next. Cody said, guy at my work is a big cider guy and wants to try and get into bourbon. What would you recommend? I told him Woodford Reserve and he hated it for being too strong. Oh, cider. You know what I would recommend? Like, this is not a bourbon. But it's made in Kentucky. There's a distillery in Kentucky called Copper and Kings, and they kind of got their start by making apple brandy, and they age it in like bourbon barrels. So it's like it's a apple-based brandy, but it like has some of the nuanced characters of bourbon. So if you're familiar with that tart apple flavor and you like ciders, that might be your entry point. Maybe point him to Copper and Kings, and specifically their apple brandy. They also make grape brandy, so just make sure you decide which one is like the apple. I don't remember how they label it, but I think that might be a better entry. Get him into that, and I bet he'll be very quickly into bourbon. That's how I would do it. Some aloe or some good hydrating lotion. Nice. Drink a sample. Okay. I will do that shortly. How much would Knob Creek 12 cask strength cost? Well, Knob Creek 12 is only like 60, 65 in my area. So I imagine the cast strength, I think I would pay up to 100 for it. If it was truly cast strength, I would pay up to $100 for it. I think I love the 1200 proof so much, and knowing that they can release that at 20 plus proof points higher for, you know, 35 more dollars, I would be happy to pay it. I would prefer it to be 90, $90, but I could see it being 100. I would pay 100 for it. That's another good suggestion. Alfonso said Compass Box Orchard House. I'm still losing my voice. It is a very apple and pear forward Scotch whiskey. It's a very light, very delicate, very floral. That's a great suggestion. If you like ciders, that's a great one. Yeah, Compass Box Orchard House. I have a bottle of it. I'll grab that. Well, we're talking about drinking samples. I'll grab that and we'll drink that one next. How about that? Let me grab it. I'm gonna hide my legs so you hopefully can't see. All right, so this is the one we were talking about. This Orchard House. Beautiful label, by the way. This is only like $40. Very, very affordable. It's by Compass Box, which is one of my favorite. They do blended scotches, so different than a single malt, but it's they are really experts at it. They know where they get their barrels from. They have some really great whiskeys in here, so I'll pour myself a little bit of that one. Nice change of pace. Porky Prankster, welcome. Do you like Copper and Cask? Copper and Cask. I'm not familiar with that. I've heard of Copper and Kings, which is what I just mentioned. I heard of Castle and Key. I'm not familiar with Copper and Cask. So no, I'm not familiar, but I'd love to learn more about it. You and Perry fight out for Knob Creek 12. I would. Cindy said, I had that Copper and Kings bottle. Benny's closed it out for $19 high proof. Oh, wow. Nice. Another great suggestion for Emily, something sweet like a wheated bourbon, like a Maker's Mark. Yeah, if the Woodford was too intense for him, I think Maker's Mark might be a bit lighter on the palate. After he cleared his throat, Compass came out normal. I don't know what you're saying, but okay. By the way, the Compass Box is very, very light colored. Look at that. But it's really... It's so bright and orchard. I always say this is like the perfect spring whiskey because it just reminds me of like fruits, you know, producing and like fresh flowers. Got a little bit of like a sour thing to it, but like not like a sour beer, more of like a sour, like a lemon, like you squeeze a lemon on it or something. It's got a really brightness to it. They blend, but they good. Yeah. And it's also not that high proof either. This one is 46% ABV. So that's about 92 proof. So compared to what we've been drinking tonight, like when I was drinking the 107 and the 116, it's definitely like more mellow, more chill. It's a great scotch. It's a great entry level scotch for sure. But I say that and then I buy it. Like this is a regular on my bar cart. Always have that Compass Box. Gonna recommend him Buffalo Trace because it seems sweet and apple. Yeah, Buffalo Trace is a good one. Depending on where he lives, availability could be an issue. Here in Southern California, we can find Buffalo Trace pretty regularly, but I know some states struggle to find it. So just make sure he doesn't overpay for Buffalo Trace because some people will do that. Tanner said, what's the whiskey that stands out to you the most in your whole collection? Ooh, fun question. That changes. So what I consider myself, I'm less of a whiskey collector and more of a whiskey enthusiast or enjoyer. I don't hang on to bottles too long. Even if I really love them, I really do try to drink them and share them with friends. So I don't really have too many bottles in my collection that I think of as like the best. I mean, there is one. There's one. It's actually an Irish whiskey. I'll go grab that one. I'm not going to pour it because it's almost out, but I'll go grab that one. It's an Irish whiskey that was a limited release. Only a few stores in Southern California got a batch of this. It's Redbreast, which actually I just did a review on my podcast of the new Redbreast. But this one is a small batch cask strength, 14-year-old. Come on, focus. 14-year-old small batch cask strength. Very, very, very limited release. It was only like $100, but this thing sold out. There was only 252 bottles of it. If you can see that. There's only 252 bottles of it made, and this was hands down the best whiskey I've ever had. And I still have just a tiny bit left. I'm just saving it for, to share with friends or special occasions and things like that. But yeah, I love that bottle. It's so, so good. That's probably my standout pour on my shelf. Oh, the Buffalo Trace is very available. Nice. Yeah, but then Washington, you guys have to pay those like liquor taxes, which I know are intense. I've told the story on the channel a few times, but the first time I went to Seattle, I had a sticker shock when I saw the cost of liquor. But then I realized, like, oh, you guys will pay state income tax and stuff. But I wasn't expecting the liquor store to be so expensive. It's like, oh, that's a good price, and you read all the taxes, and you're like, what the fuck? But I was just a visitor. I didn't know what to expect. So over says life-changing whiskeys, life event whiskeys, shared moment whiskeys, and favorite tasting experience whiskeys. There can be so many experiences with whiskey. Cheers to that. Yes, agreed. I have ones that I enjoy just for the experience. I mean, I have a Knob Creek pick up here from when I went to my first whiskey meetup in Kentucky with Chad and Sarah. I have a Jack Daniels pick that I did with Jason from the Mash and Drum, which to me holds a very special place in my heart. I wasn't pouring. By the way, that's the Walking Dead whiskey. I was not pouring in that one. That was just up there for memorabilia. But so yeah, whiskeys have stories as well. Oh, you go to any liquor stores on the reservations and it excludes liquor. Well, the more you know. Listen, I love casinos, so you'll always find me near a reservation. Also, I grew up near a Indian reservation. My aunt growing up is like 100% Native American, so I grew up a lot with that culture. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing in Washington. Good to know. I'll have to keep an eye out if there's any. Because let me know if there's any casino recommendations. Not assuming every reservation has casinos because they don't, but I do love visiting a good small town casino. Yeah, that Compass Box Orchard is just refreshing. Really nice, like palate cleanser too. After going for like a 14-year intense bourbon, it really does kind of help balance out the palate a bit. That's nice. Any other questions? Any other things you've always wanted to ask Cliffy, or I don't know, or if you're new here, questions you want to ask about me, go for it. I see a lot of new faces here, so I'm glad to see you. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. I'm here every Thursday. Usually, I'm a little bit more planned out with my live streams. Like I have enough to talk about for the whole hour. I've just been recovering from like a flu cold thing, so I'm not feeling 100% right now. But I wanted to at least get some reviews out for you guys. So thank you for sticking with me and tuning in because it does mean a lot. Otherwise, I'd be doing this tip for no one watching, and then I'd be like, oh, why did I even do that? But it's good to see you guys watching. And those of you watching the replay, I know you're there too. Leave a comment down below which one is your favorite or any questions you guys have for me as well, because I'll answer those on an upcoming stream. Old Cliffy, you know the questions that I would the questions that I would ask would not be appropriate for YouTube. Love you. Yeah, well, no, anything that's not appropriate for YouTube will be saved for our after party hangout. Those are free for all. Those aren't recorded, so that's why I love those. I can say whatever I want, and I won't get canceled for it. Just kidding. I don't think I say things to get canceled that often. Pork Prankster said, just lighten it up. They have a variety of whiskeys. Going to see if they mail drop. Nice. Also, thank you so much for liking the stream. You're talking about the copper. Let me look that up. Copper. Trying to find it. What you said. Am I scrolling too far? I might be losing it. It's copper and something. Say it again in the chat if I lose it. Why can't I find it? I know you just talked about it. Copper and Cask. I found it. No, not Copper and Kings. Copper and Cask. Copper and Cask. Copper and Cask spirits. Huh. No, I'm not familiar with this one. I'll share my screen. Why not? I think this is still... Oh, no, that's on the wrong one. Hold on. So there's the Copper and Cask. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them. They do single barrel selections. 8-year Sauterne finished. High rye bourbon. Sounds good. Heavy bourbon. High rye bourbon whiskey. Where are they from? It doesn't say Kentucky straight bourbon, so that makes me think it might be sourced from somewhere else. Maybe. Let me just go to one of these pages. Oh, it seems to be selected by different influencers. Nice. The Whiskey Gal, Bourbon Hunt, and the Whiskey Fly. Well, I'm always down to participate in a pick of something. Mash bill, 60% corn, 36% rye, 4% malted barley. I'm pretty sure that's an Indiana bourbon mash bill, if I remember correctly. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Distilled MGP in Indiana. Nice. So they do some, it looks like maybe they do small batch series. Let me just see one of those. Interesting. Yeah. So they're sourcing a lot of Indiana bourbon. Pricing seems good. I mean, the pricing is not bad at all. Heavy Bourbon. Is this by our friends at Heavy Bourbon? Oh, nice. They do a lot of collaborations with influencers and stuff. Very cool. With You Riot. Nice. Well, consider me interested. I love some good Indiana bourbon, and if these are anywhere as good as some of the ones I've had, I'm on board. So I'm gonna have to check it out. Thank you for the suggestion, Porky Prankster. Gonna have to check it out and maybe reach out to them. Maybe get something going. We'll see. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I'm like, what do you know where I'm at? All right. Oh wait, Cask yes had too much to drink. 3 different copper and casks. I just sent me a cigar blend. That's the single. Oh, okay, nice. Saw an interview with Barrel Guys. Nice. I got some research to do. I got a new brand to explore. I love finding new brands. So that's my job for the next week or so. Please tune in next week. I promise I'll be a little more normal, a little less all over the place, a little less itchy. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, I go live every Thursday night, same time. I also do a podcast that normally comes out Thursday mornings. I skipped this one because I've been sick. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. You can also join our Discord community, open to everyone, all whiskey-loving friends there. But most of all, thank you so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. Subscribe if you want to come back. And until next time, this has been the Bourbon Bytes podcast. No, it's not. This has been the Bourbon Bytes live stream. Cheers, and I'll see you guys next Thursday.